Since the last video, I've been in the car and stripped the dash out. And actually, it's not that much of a difficult job. No, these old cars come apart really, really easily. And it's definitely something you can do at home if you take your brave pills. As well as taking the dash out, we've also taken the wiring loom out, and that ran all the way down the side of the car into the boot, to the rear light, and to the underbody fuel pump and tank sender and all of that. So we've completely stripped the loom for this car. In fact, I think there's only a couple of wires left in it, and that's the front indicators and this one here for the this one here for the light up in the headliner. And I've done all this because this car deserves better than its current state. So when I bought it, it ran like an absolute bag of nails, and it just got worse. And then it got to the point where it just decided to dump its fuel all over the floor. So I parked it up, and now it is time to make some real progress on this car. So I've got a donor car. It's a Jetta that's already been converted to the 3.2 engine, but it is completely rotten. So let's have a look at that. What's good other than the 3.2 V6 engine? Because you'd be forgiven for thinking that this car looks terrible. Because it does. Yeah, this car was painted on a driveway using Land Rover paint. I mean, the colour's quite nice. It looks pretty similar to Atlas Grey. But other than that, we've got these fiberglass eBay arches, which, they're here. You've got 312mm brake discs that you'd find on an Audi TT and other sort of Mark IV, Mark V platform cars. Underneath this bonnet with all the peeling paintwork, we've got the engine, but what we've also got, we've got the gearbox from a Mark IV Golf, but it's been completely reworked by Gas and Gears, so it's got a Quaife limited slip diff in here, which makes this thing a lot of fun. Inside, there is nothing to write home about. We've got this mismatched blue interior. We've got some door cards that have been trimmed in grey carpet. Then we've got a blue dash in here. I mean, that is disgusting. And it's going nowhere near our beige Jetta, because even though we're going right-hand drive, we can't use that, can we? We're gonna have to get another dash. I bought it with just a couple of weeks MOT left, thinking, well, I can drive it home, don't have to pay for transport, and then it's ready to be used as a donor for another project. And I bought this kind of gives it away how long I've had it if you've been with the channel for a while. I bought this as a donor for my Barnfine Mark II, but that also needed a bunch of welding. So it's ended up sitting here in hibernation, waiting for the right project. And I think this Jetta Coupe is absolutely the right project. In the engine bay, there's not much left. The gear linkage is still there, but the exhaust is gone. We've got these brake lines, they're all gonna have to come out because of course the original master cylinder was sat this side, but on a right-hand drive car, it kind of goes in there where there should be a hole, and that's where the steering column needs to come out. And at the moment, there is no holes. And this is the thing I am most scared about with this project, is that I've got to cut these holes out, and there's no going back once I've done this. And if I get it wrong, what next? It doesn't even, I can't even get the words out. It's not even worth thinking about, right? We've got to get this right. So I've come up with a genius idea. When we pulled apart a donor car for some bits and pieces, we kept hold of the bulkhead. Now this is the right-hand drive bulkhead, and you can see that we've got the holes for the steering column and for the master cylinder to be bolted up to. Now the great thing with these cars is you can kind of see where it should be. So we can see that that needs to be cut out, and we've got the panel is pressed to accommodate it, it just hasn't got the holes. So we need to find some other holes to line it all up with. So we take this and we can see there that we've got the heat shield and brake line sort of bolt there. So that's a good place to start. We've then got this up here, which with a little bit of wiggling around, I really should remove these brake lines because they're just getting in the way, but we can see that actually that hole lines up perfectly. So if we put a bolt through it, then we know that that is pretty much perfectly lined up. And then it's a case of just tapping this to make sure that we're happy with the position. And then I guess we can just draw around these holes and then we know where to cut. That's the theory. Let's see how we get on. Now we just need to double check because we can't get this wrong. So we've got this lined up. These all line up nicely. So we've got this groove here and then we've got that there. So we're kind of happy with that. That one's lined up nicely. And then we look here, that hole is kind of lined up. And then in this corner, we've got this edge here, which again, that needs to come down a little, I think. So there we go. And with that, just manipulate it down a little bit. Yeah, that's nice and smooth all the way around there. I mean, you can't really see it, especially with my fingers in the way, but you get the idea. So that lines up nicely with that. That hole is lined up there. Obviously that's lined up. So we can kind of see that actually we need to cut a couple of holes. So we've got this one, we've got this, and we've got that one. But other than that, but it looks like that's all that we need to do to convert this to right-hand drive is literally just punch out these holes and hopefully everything lines up and bolts up from the inside. It's time to just draw around the holes with a Sharpie. It should be that easy, but the trouble is with a Sharpie, depending what angle you do it at, we could actually have these lines in the wrong place. So on second thought, let's use a bit of spray paint. So if we just spray over the holes, it should give us a nice outline that we can then just cut around. With a little bit of paper, just to make sure we don't get any overspray up there. But again, we can degrease it and a bit of polish if we need to, but at the end of the day, I think this is going to work. One way to find out, I guess. Let's remove this carefully. And yeah, I think that kind of has done the job. Other than a little bit of run, which we can get off with some polish, we can pretty much see the shape there that we need to cut out. And then we've got that one down there for the steering column. And yeah, you can see that you've got this big space around the top. And if we go back to the template, we can again see that we've got that big space around the top. So actually, I think that's worked pretty well. But again, I'm doing more talking and no cutting. It's like, yeah, I'm doing everything I can to not cut this up, but I don't think we can wait any longer. And to do this, we're going to drill out the corners to start with, so we can then run an angle grinder down the middle. So we go around one at a time, drilling these holes, just some small little pilot holes, and then we'll open it up with a cone cutter just to make the holes a bit bigger, and hopefully it means we won't overshoot with the angle grinder. And then with those holes drilled, it's then time to cut this out. So again, just getting in there with the grinder, being nice and careful not to overshoot and take too much metal out. And this is the scary bit, because if we get this wrong and it needs welding up, well, me getting welding done, I don't have a great track record, do I? Pretty happy with that. Those black lines are from the tar from the under seal on the inside of the dash, so actually that's a pretty neat job. And with that done, I need to cut out that hole because it's sculpted at the top and the bottom to accommodate the circular shape for the brake servo. So I've used a flat wheel because that seemed to do a really nice job. With the hole for the servo cut, it's not the prettiest, but we can dress it and it'll all be tucked away behind grommets and sandwich plates and or gaskets and sandwich plates. So that's all good. Now we've got the one that really is the concern, because I can't get this one wrong. With this, the holes here and everything else, there's a bit of movement, a bit of adjustment, it's all good. Whereas this, we've got to get it perfect for that boot, because that seals the cabin from all water and stuff coming up when you're driving it. So it's got to be in the right place or it could give me some big issues. So we've got the hole saw. You can see that we've got the circle. We've measured up the center point and like hole punched or punched the center there. So we've got a little dimple for me to get that on. I've lost the end out of the drill, so I need to go and find that, because otherwise I'm gonna cock this up massively. So hold on. So with that in, I guess we just need to line that up against there. And I mean, just got to send it, haven't we? Yes, there's no going back. Whew. Okay. Is it too late to not do this? I don't want to do this anymore. Okay, right, let's go. And there we go. I mean, looking at it, that looks pretty spot on. We did a thing. Oh, geez. I need to take 5 minutes to calm down because, oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, there's so much potential for that going wrong, but it looks pretty much spot on. So I'm really happy with that. Gone round it with the flat wheel just to make sure there's no nasty little bits. But actually, do you know what? Compared to the other side, yeah, it's the right size. We need to put a little notch in it just here for the right-hand drive ones, because you've got 3 notches here on the left-hand drive ones, but on UK cars, there's just a little notch there. So we need to just cut that in with a die grinder. And then that's pretty much spot on. We just need to drill the holes for the pedal box in the top. So we're going to offer one up inside and just measure it up, make sure it's good, and probably drill it through from the other side. And then obviously we'll know that with the pedal box kind of mounted up, bolted onto the top of the dash where it's going to be. So the column, the pedal box, all bolts to the dash. And then we'll know that those holes are where they need to be. And we can just run the drill through. And that'll mean that we've got them in the right place. I mean, does that pedal box move at all? That looks better. Because now you're more like lined up with the one bolt hole that we've got. So with a little knock with a hammer, a tiny little bit off maybe, yeah. But actually that looks really good. And then that bolt hole is there. So that's lined up.
I've got to drill it out a little bit.
Yeah, we need a little tickle on that to get it a bit wider. But yeah, overall quite happy with that.
So it's time to drill more holes. We're drilling the bottom 2 so that we can then put this metal plate, sort of strengthening plate, mounting plate over the top. We can screw that in with the bottom holes, and then we know that we're going to drill those top 2 holes in the right place.
So with that there, we can see, yeah, we can just drill through there and there from this side. Yep. I mean that, well, we'll see with that in place if we're going to have to trim that back as well. Saying that, I mean, it sits flush with a bit on the inside, doesn't it? So, yeah. So I think that's okay.
And now we're happy with where that plate sits. It's time to drill out these last 2 holes. After test fitting the servo, the holes just needed opening up a little bit more, just to make sure that everything fits perfectly.
Try that again. Is that a better fit? Yeah, I mean that all looks nice, so they're all through here. And then actually, I could connect that to the, I mean it literally sits in the notch for the brake pedal perfectly. I could literally put the clip through it and we'd have a brake pedal. With all that done, you can see that the brake servo fits in there perfectly. So yeah, so it's really scary drilling those holes, because if I got it wrong, I mean, it just means welding them all up. You'll never see it, it'll be tucked away behind there, but I want to make sure that it looks right, it is right behind there. Behind here, because we're fitting a hydro clutch, the hydro pedal box and the bit for the master cylinder or the clutch cylinder, we need to beat this flat. So we're going to offer up a hydro pedal box to make sure it all fits, and then we can see where we need just to reshape. I think that's a nicer way of saying beat. We need to reshape that bulkhead to be able to accommodate that that master cylinder. I guess we can get that bolted in and see what that looks like. You can see the difference right there, where the pedal box bolts up. I mean, interestingly, you've got all the screw holes, all the bolt holes at the top there. So you can see where that is going to bolt into, which is crazy to think that Volkswagen put all of this in here. Yeah, so you can see there that we're kind of in there. Just as I thought the scary stuff was over. No, there's one last thing we've got to do, and that's beat that bulkhead or manipulate that bulkhead into the shape that we want it. And to do that, I think it's going to be a block of wood and a hammer. So we've drilled through from the inside with the pedal box fitted up, so we can see where the one hole is, which is that one there. But then this needs to be flattened so that we can drill through the pedal box on the other side, and this needs to be all nice and flat so that the master cylinder all kind of sits flush against the bulkhead. So it means the scary stuff isn't over, but I think once that's done, I think I can relax, and then it just all feels a bit nicer because the hard bit is over. All right, so the wooden block isn't working, so we're going with the trusty red snap-on.
The part here that we need to reshape is right on this crease. So we could either keep trying to hit it to get it flat, or actually, if we drill a hole in it, it'll give the metal somewhere to move when we hit it. And that's the hole for the master cylinder to go through anyway. And with that cut out, it's all reshaping a lot easier. Once we're happy with the shape, we can drill the rest out to accommodate that master.
Yeah, you can see that's gone a lot quicker and a lot flatter. Yeah, it's got somewhere to move to, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And with all that done, guys, I'm so excited. I mean, look at it. We've got, do you know what? This was the bit that was scaring me the most, but we've got the hole for the servo cut, we've got the steering column hole cut, and then we've also got the clutch master cylinder hole cut as well. So I need to dress those holes because, again, if I don't, they're gonna rust. So I'm gonna put a bit of zinc primer on them before I go home tonight, and then I'll paint it over with some paint tomorrow. So yeah, do you know what? I think that's a really good place to leave this video. We've got so much done, even though it doesn't feel like we've got a lot done. But guys, trust me, I think this is the bit that I've been scared about the most of this project. And with this done, it means we can get on. So we need to swap the body loom over, get that into here. And then we've got things like the fuel tank and the exhaust, the engine loom, and then of course that 3.2 V6. So make sure you subscribe, press the bell notification so you're notified next time we upload a video, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Cheers, guys.